They are the only people, you see graveyards, multiple burials. That is a sign of sedentism. You don't have grave sites unless you're living in the area for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. You don't have grave sites of infants unless you were there and they were being born. You don't have pottery and all these other things. And so we have all of that at the site. In the middle of the Sahara, no one would predict that. No one has ever found that. It took a long time in my geology degree and some really good geologists that I've read out there to figure out the mystery of the site. There were water holes and a big fault that ran right across the dinosaur beds, right at this point. And so what happened was they had groundwater coming up and creating this natural lake for thousands of years. It was like Lake Michigan just sitting there for thousands of years. And they lived on these dunes, some of them going into the lake. Reeds grew up around them, and that created a hard rock that preserves the grave sites. And so we have the only civilization in the world that peacefully lived for 5,000 years. You have to realize, when I found the site, I thought I was dealing with maybe typical archaeological site. 200 years, 200 good years, people came here. This is the desert after all. It was the Green Sahara, and that's not what happened. The burials were 5,000 years apart. They start at just under 10,000 years, and the last one is at 4,700 years, something like that, 5,000 years. You know how long that is? That's from Tutankhamun to your grandfather's grave. That's 5,000 years. They lived in the spot for that long. It's hard to wrap your mind around it because there's nothing like it. And I would end up being the one that, so I have to make sure when the story comes out that my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted, because if you think there's going to be some people, that don't like me going to be saying that I'm all wrong and the dinosaur is a diver. No, there's going to be people saying that, could this be true? But he's not really an archaeologist. He's a paleontologist. I have to make sure that the story is really good. But believe me, we have hundreds of radiometric dates, and this story is good. And it tells the story of a people that had this water source, and all the animals of Serengeti were coming in, and their garbage piles have every animal of. I mean, crocodiles, they have boars, they have water buffalo, they have elephants there. They have ivory elephant wristbands. And they lived in balance with their nature as hunter-gatherers without farming. They didn't have the soil to farm. And they had all the trappings of sedentism, burials, like North American Indians never had until they started growing corn.
We stay genuine, uncensored and unscripted, and we always will, as we have to order our usual. Share us and subscribe us, and stay tuned until the next Wednesday. Ikuzo!